So, going to spare you guys the light mode to open up this particular game, but this is going to be the EDG versus IG VOD review. It's game number 3 of the series. First time the teams met. Remember that in the LPL this season, it's a single round robin. So it's IG versus EDG hasn't happened so far in the season. We're looking at this patch 9.5. We'll start off with game number 1. So I watched game number 1 and 2 yesterday in order to be ready for this series. And you might be surprised with where the champions are. The result of this game is so resounding. It's a 30-minute victory. IG had early Kennen into Akali. Good matchup for Kennen early. The LeBlanc into Ahri is a bit of a skill matchup. I'm always kind of biased towards LeBlanc, but I think Ahri players and Scouts are great Ahri players. Disagree with me. I think the bot lane 2v2, Kalista Thresh, you definitely take over Kog'Maw Braum. What happened in this game is that IG made a lot of mistakes in how they played the early game, but it kind of bled out. It was just one of those cases where they weren't able to turn Ning's post-6 phase into much, and Clearlove had a really good early jungle path to shut down some of the innate lanes. And then in the mid game, IG could just never get... They were always poorer than the sum of their parts. They never had Thresh, Vi, and Kennen hit the backline at the same time. And honestly, iBoy just kind of free hit his way to 10-0-4 stat line. Like, you think about this enemy team where LeBlanc, the Thresh with Fate's Call, Vi, Kennen, like, it's unconscionable for a Kog'Maw never to die. But Kog'Maw just did fine in lane and then cleaned up enough kills to have an item lead for the majority and ends the game with stopwatch, no deaths. Like, this is actually really sloppily played from IG. This is one of those games where people say that people are overrating IG because they played it out really kind of all over the place in this game. But Clearlove was the big early game reason they were able to get going, and then iBoy played really well with his lead. So not too much to talk about there. Definitely not worth VOD reviewing. Game number 2, this was very surprising that it went. This was a slamming. This game was over before turret plates even had worn off. You see the 25-minute timer. JackeyLove and Baolan got a double kill 2v2 against Zyra Khan. So that lane was over. And then Ning was able to much more perform on the Lee Sin. And Lee Sin and Lissandra, even though we liked the Swain into Lissandra matchup, it was played so well by Pobelter in the FlyQuest Best of 5. The items never came in before the game was over. There's so much gold in this game from how hard they were able to snowball. The double kill meant they just never had to go bot lane, and Lee Sin just was able to play in other parts of the map and grow the lead. Like, this was just so much gold onto the side of IG early that it was like a farce of a game. Like, this game was like the Papa's wallet smack of video games. It was so far ahead from IG, but this is the IG styling on you from ahead with aggression that I'm always said I'm a big fan of. And yeah, they just ultra bopped them here. Like, this is the hugest lead. I mean, you just look at the goal. It's 16,600 gold at 25-minute game ending. Like, this was yeah, Ning was awesome. 17 kill involvements out of 24, and JackeyLove and Baolan got a double kill at 2v2. And the moment they tell you that Vayne and Braum get a double kill 2v2 to open up the lane phase against Zyra Khan, you know the game's over. So, we get to jump into game number 3. Hype, hype, hype. The light mode is only for a half second here. Thanks, Papa, is what you should be saying. So we'll speed it up a little bit. Getting into what is supposed to be a very, very memorable game. Again, I have not watched the ending clip here. I only know that it is a very charged, close kind of Nexus situation. So that's the full disclosure from me. So let's look at what's available. The IG have to ban Kog'Maw blue side. This means that Vayne is a lot more attractive, given that Vayne actually has a pretty bad matchup into Kog'Maw, sort of thing that Deft reminded us of, especially when you go Hail of Blades. Jungle Pool is super heavily targeted. Jarvan, Rek'Sai are kind of seen as the two go-to early game aggressive junglers. The Lissandra first pick is not always a go-to from IG, given that Rookie can also play stuff like Syndra and just such a strong player in general. So it's going to be Tahm Kench Corki. So this is opening up champion pool for iBoy by taking the Tahm Kench. Hyper carry is, of course, going to be here. And it's just, you know, a natural answer to a pick comp. And IG usually just play aggressive pick comps and try to style on you, which is what they did in the previous game. So I don't mind Tahm Kench, and Corki is the mid lane opponent. Ning's going to go back to Lee Sin for comfort. Any champion with displacement from the jungle is strong against Tahm Kench, right? Because kick is one of the few ways to punish him. And it's a very obvious Vayne lock because they banned the Cogmore. So there you go. Not a surprise to see Vayne at all. Notable that EDG take Ezreal as their AD carry, because they're going Ezreal Tahm Kench. So they're saying to IG, yes, you like this lane matchup, but we're going to play around this lane, rotate it out, and then you can obviously rotate very hard with Ezreal Tahm Kench because they're better at playing mid lane, sieging, and in general rotating than any possible combination from IG. So I think this is a pretty good spot here. The Ezreal tells you they want to play very much a breakpoint game. So I would imagine they're going to counterpick for Ray with final pick and try to play 4-1 style. That's what I would guess here. EDG are not a good team at playing 1-3-1. 1-3-1 is actually really hard for EDG to execute. They always seem to fall apart on that one, but 4-1 is much more their go-to. So 2 bans at Clear Love. Now, the creme de la creme is gone and Lee Sin is taken. Olaf has a pretty good matchup into Lee Sin, so it's fine as a ban. The Kindred ban is a little bit curious. Now, it's another champion that can play up-tempo, and we could tell from the Ezreal that largely that's what EDG want to do. It can do really well against Lee Sin, but it's a bit feast or famine. So it's almost saying take a Xin Zhao, for example. They're not going to take Xin Zhao, but they go Skarner. Now, Skarner is kind of fun in that when we're thinking about how this game is likely to go EDG grouping, if you get your grouping on and IG have had to invest gold into QSSs while Ezreal is mainlining a very strong, effective 2-item power spike, actually, that can be a really powerful thing to wield. So we're on patch 9.5, guys. By the way, so double tier is up is available on this patch. Notable. Skarner here is pretty good. I don't mind Xin Zhao once again. It's not banned out. He goes Skarner, and the QSS gold values might actually really help EDG be definitely strong when they hit Triforce Corki and 2-item Ezreal. IG on their side, looking for top lane and also the support. Vayne strong against Alistar. Vayne strong against Galio, strong with Galio as well. So they're going to take that. And then look at this. Ray just imports the Ornn top lane. And now we get one of my most favorite duos. I didn't know the team comps here, and I get to talk about one of my favorite duos. I actually always thought, because we had if you guys remember, we had a Skarner Sejuani Zac meta for a long time. I want to say end of 2017, early 2018. Happened a lot. And it felt like Sejuani would always beat the Skarner because you'd just ult Skarner and then be fine. The Zac had the good matchup into the Sejuani. I'm a really big fan of specifically the duo of Ornn Skarner because that is such a hard duo to play against in team fights. What happens there is Ornn ults, and in the Pandemonium, Skarner ults someone, and your ability to either, you know, attack the Skarner or try to stop there just being a complete disruption in a team fight is almost impossible. The core of the Forge God occupies almost all of your screen, and you can't even get to the Skarner to either impede him or attack him or whatever. So I actually think Skarner as a pick in general is okay, but with Ornn, it rises up many tier lists because there's so much crowd control threat around the Ornhorn that Skarner is much more likely to get a flash ult or sometimes even just a normal ult, Predator ult off and get his man and actually lead to a scenario where all the people who don't want the person who's Skarner ulted to go away are hit up by the Call of the Forge God, and then Skarner's pulled someone really far away. So we've already seen the matchup. We know that Ornn is pretty able to contain Now, this is patch 9.5, so the on buffs aren't live in terms of cooldown on W, so you would assume the result of that is a little bit more chip damage on turrets and also health bars on the Ornn. So we're going to start off this particular game. Jace will push in Ornn, pretty standard. Lissandra agency over Corki. So same solo lanes as the Griffin versus Kingzone game number 1 that we had. The duo lane, I think, is really fine for Jekyll and Baolan. Like, I don't think Ezra even wins in CS in this matchup. And Skarner provides very little pressure. So this game, to me, is a lot about EDG being able to play around their power spikes. Like, they're very, very clear ones. Like Trinity Force, Ornn getting some items together, etc. But before then, IG should really be able to do whatever they want. That's how I look at drafts like the ones we see here. Double Scuttle for Ning. At least Clear Love understands, you know, there's nothing really he can do to battle as this Skarner. Rune-wise, it's pretty standard. No Triumph, so definitely no pre-6 turret dives coming out. Just goes Presence of Mind for ult CDR and then the Tenacity. A lot of reasons to take Tenacity here, and you really want to go Ninja Tabi because Jace Vayne, so you can't just go attack speed for faster clear speed. So what does Ning do with this map scenario? Because this is what it looks like when you have a draft like this. When you have Jace versus Ornn, Lissandra versus Corki, and a Skarner jungle, like, the whole jungle is basically wherever IG decide to go, they'll get there first, and the enemy wants to kite back. And we're probably going to see a lot more Ornn versus Jace, given that Jace, after the nerfs, is getting first picked more, and Ornn has been shown as a containment matchup before. So we're expecting to see this matchup more, but if you give up other lanes, this is the cost, is that you do give up significant map control, and not all teams can actually have the defensive macro to not just make that a game-losing thing. Someone in chat asking about specifically what's next to the alt portraits. In China, they have like a donate to the stream, support the players and the LPL fund, and it's to do with how many people have donated in the stead of that player. You can level up from bronze to silver to gold. You might start in gold, I forget. But yes, it's all about making some of that moolah. Double armor taken. That's cool that they have the secondary runes there. I haven't seen that. Not the secondary runes, I guess the laning stats. I haven't actually seen that before. That's cool. Makes a lot of sense. I guess you don't need attack speed as Ornn to last hit, so it's probably fine. Forward vision here. Ning has been surprisingly respectful. Now his lanes are all winning, so you can just power farm for 6 if you want, but then I feel like the Skarner gets a free 6 for no reason. So I'm not 100% sold on Ning just kind of farming out the early game, but everything's going really well. Mid lane, Corki has been able to last hit more because Lissandra's more focused on pushing, so it's been more about priority rather than actually getting a CS lead, but, you know, Rookie's be able to get double Dark Seal and be fine. Top lane's up 10 CS. Good ward timing here from the Shy. He knows his Lee Sin is bot side, so Skarner needs a lot of setup in order to get any sort of lead. And it's another Scuttle, so all Scuttles this game have gone to Ning. In terms of where the game is going, definitely, once again, you like EDG in terms of being able to zone with Ornn Skarner, and then Ezreal and Corki can hit the map hard, but the way you get there without just ceding map control to IG, like we mentioned, is hitting the ground running with 2-item Ezreal. Until that phase happens, you kind of just have to let IG do whatever they want and try to lose the minimum amount of turret plates. Oh, the good old Ignite Power Spike. That's what happens. You switch over to Ignite, you hit any sort of CC, and there's a lot of punishment. Naturally, the Shy just dies. Wow, okay, let's look at this again. So he just gets the solo trade as Corky's been able to roam. And the Scout was, I think, just looking for the honey fruit and just got a kill straight up. He didn't even have first package of the game. So that's really, really just the Shy having very it's a very poor read on this scenario. Someone's saying here, look at Vayne skill points. I can go back and look at that. Qmax Vayne. Interesting. I don't see why you would go Qmax. I mean, if you put 3 points in it, you get 1 second off tumble. So I guess there's a chance to tumble away from more Qs from Ezreal. Or maybe even tumble away from more Qs from Tom Kench. But that is surprising. Thank you for mentioning it. You could go 3 points Q into max out silver balls. I'd be surprised to see 5 points Q. That would be really, really weird. Yeah, strange. I got the right thing, right? Let's make sure. No, sorry. Okay. I did have the brain lag there. It tagged over. Okay, so going back to it. 2 points W, 2 points E. Okay, so not putting more points into tumble. All right. The second point in the condemn is very interesting. So condemn max hasn't been a thing since the ability had really high base damage a long, long time ago. It does lead to some kind of nope trades that are pretty strong. So there's one way you can win trades is to just end with E, and if you get a registration on the third proc of silver bolts and the wall, it's a huge burst trade. But that is different. Thank you, chat, for noticing that. It's likely to be a misclick. Like, I don't really see why you'd have extra point in condemn, but the cooldown does change pretty significantly. Yeah, the burst damage days are gone. Chaos maxing condemn first is gone. But, yeah. Not sure if that's on purpose or something new that's happening there. Very possible that it was a fat finger, right? So, still, good noticing by the chat. So Predator's zoned here onto the side, and it's very important that you were able to repel any meaningful map objectives in the early parts of the game. That was with a pushing bot lane, and Lissandra also having first roam. Thank you, chat, there. Sorry I missed a couple of hands. But this play from the Shy is really peculiar. He gets the question mark ping early, and he just kind of walks into the river and dies. Like, this is really strange. Was he trying to just put down a Ghost Pourer? Did he already have the Ghost Pourer? Do we know if he had the Ghost Pourer? No. Okay, he put the Ghost Pourer in afterwards, I believe, and then just straight up dies. He just gets all in. He'd already flashed on screen, so really, really strange timing. The Honey Fruit is down the lane, so I imagine that's where he's going to, so it's Ghost Pourer into Honey Fruit. But it's like, you got the question mark ping from mid already, from someone who speaks Korean, so yeah, I'm not really sure what to make of that. I guess it's just, you know, lust for lane being punished. And it's a lane where Ray's going to get a back time, he gets a control ward, and of course we know we'll continue to start building towards, it looks like Frozen Hearts, so I spent Gauntlet of Frozen Heart, the expectation here. Back lane spot and bot lane, a little bit awkward for Jackie Love, but again, it's not going to change the CS lead. The CS lead over time, like, Ray will just get more of the minions that pushed in, but it's not like he's going to start having solo kill potential again. He can't switch over to Ignite, so unless Skarner comes up, he's a little bit more limited. This is definitely not the sort of lead that Griffin had in IG's shoes in a very similar draft. Ning has been mostly focused on farming Warrior and Chat and getting level 6. So in that game, because they had kills and map control and had inners and outers down top and mid lane by 16 minutes into the game, the fact that they were a little bit slower on Drake's wasn't as relevant. But they're still trying to group, they're still trying to punish. They're still the stronger team as we currently load into the game. But Clearlove picks up the blue. And only one single turret play has been gained in top side. So this is a game where you would be much more confident on the EDG side that they've done enough to kind of slow down the game, and then you get plays like this where teleport or the Shy is dead. Now, the teleport timing isn't one that Corki's able to punish. Corki's still on the build path towards having his items clear, but you're getting another suboptimal use of a summoner. That seems pretty bold. When does he press Q for the second time? Like, against package, this can never be the right play. Well, you know, at least hinder him. Like, if that's Valkyrie, it's fine. You take the Q. But when it's packaged, you do not take the Q there. And now Ning is looking like the reason you lose this game, because he had the winning lanes and power farmed and then tries to hit the map and dies. So, someone asking in chat, Bugsy OP, what does package do? I don't really know, Corky. So basically, at 8 minutes, he picks up the package, which lets him move really fast. You see the huge rockets below him, and that's movement speed, mostly out of combat movement speed. It slows down when you're in combat, but doesn't completely get removed. But the most important thing to know about Corky is then he gets a super Valkyrie. So his W is his ability to lift off and kind of flash in a certain direction. The package, the special delivery part of the package is when he has that and presses W, he will always Valkyrie a set really long distance. It's like at least double how long his normal Valkyrie is, and it also overrides CC. So if someone, like if there's a stun in the air that would interrupt another ability, it doesn't interrupt the special deliveries. You'll always move the maximum distance away. So 3 times normal is what the Minty says in chat. So because of that, the big takeaway is that he's super safe because it doesn't even use his Valkyrie cooldown. He can actually special delivery 3 normal Valkyries and then Valkyrie afterwards. So you can potentially move an entire screen away with the package. It's very, very strong. And also, if you chill on the actual path of destruction you take, it's not like Valkyrie where it does 30 damage ticking to you. It actually does quite a lot of damage, kind of like a Rumble ultimate level of damage. So basically, don't chase him through the package if you have Lee Sin Q down, is kind of the simple thing. That was actually, yeah, just a really poor play given its package. So you see the Chinese text that shows up here? That basically says, cannot be displaced. I can't read that, but that's basically what it means. Because while you're in the special delivery in particular, you cannot be displaced. And Ning, like, that is just a really poor play against a red buff Corki, to be honest. So now, Scout has randomly 2 kills, and they outscale, so you're like, damn! This is seeming like a game for EDG. Now, they don't outscale in every way. They outscale in 5v5. Vayne, obviously, if she gets the perfect fight, can still win in that scenario. Like, she's obviously very strong. But Jace doesn't provide a lot of value in the 5v5. There's a lot of people that can tank his damage. Ornn just causes pandemonium with the Skarner as well. The Jace in the 4-1 is the best way that they can just take down turrets, because you just can't stop Jace from having turret threat. But trying to look for this kill onto the Shy. It is Iceborne Gauntlet, but with no Ignite, they need the extra members. And yep, well, he's super dead. Just rotating around on the Jace. This is with turret plates still alive, but Rift Herald could be taken as a further objective on this map movement. When did they get off the map? It was just a normal back timing, and then the call was Skarner could get in the bush, so EDG go for the collapse. Cool thing about Tahm Kench, right? Look at how many control wards are on the map. IG's control wards are the only thing they've done well with their early power spikes. We've talked about how they had agency around the map. They've got great control wards, but such is the nature of Tahm Kench that all of the defensive vision top side. And they're pinged out, but they only get the full confirmation of the collapse when it's too late for for the Shy, sorry. So really nicely played by EDG. Decisive. It gets around vision. It gets them turret plates, and they're the team that desperately wants gold to reach item breakpoints. Very, very little counterplay there. The Shy can't give up minion waves like that in a matchup where he needs to be the early aggressor. They're back over to mid lane. They get the Rift Herald from this. And the reason why you make a play like this is... the reason you make a play like this is to get Rift Herald and also trade turret plates, and that's what they're able to do. The only downside is that Ezreal and Tahm Kench don't get the turret plates. They all go to Corki, but I think with the fact that Ezreal is about to hit 2 items, you're okay with that. Like, I think you feel pretty good about Corki getting more selfish gold and a little bit more team gold onto the Ezreal, and then look at that. Ezreal gets the charge from the Rift Herald, and it negates the point, and you just end up with way more gold. So really nice ending of the laning phase. EDG are really good at this. They're very good at making turret plate and, 15 to 20 minute rotational plays. So we're not like, or I guess in this case 13 minutes, but you know what I mean, post 10 minute laning phase rotations. So we're not goo goo gaga about it, but it is really nice. Like, I like watching those plays because it's another side of the LPL as you forget that EDG is very robust at making cool plays like that. Because now the Shy is like in the dumpster, right? He's going to go back and build a Blade of the Ruin King, which means he can't poke. He doesn't have the lethality build that we had from Sword because he didn't get ahead. So he's just built for trying to beat Ornn in the side lane for longer. Like, if you go double lethality, you can spread your lead better, but you're just not as good at killing the Ornn. But if you go for Blade of the Ruin King into Black Cleaver, you have a bit more threat on the Ornn without having the same sort of turret threat or siege threat. So trade-offs always in the Jace. Turret plates overall are advantage IG. Again, the least thing you'd expect with the draft they took was they'd win in turret plates. But EG have more turret plates than you'd expect with the draft they have. And that's kind of the thing, is it's almost like IG only got 3 turret plates rather than both teams got quite a few, but there was a lead between the two. 2-item Ezreal, Corki ahead of the curve because Cull cash in and also the 2 kills in the early game. Like, EDG now have really good lane assignments. This is what we're talking about there. It's something that we previewed, but we should talk about here, is that Corki can now lane against Lissandra in a long lane and just siege down the turret and be very, very safe. Whether the package is up or not, Corki is in a long lane, very, very safe. And all Lissandra can do is push, but when she's pushing, she needs those control wards to feel safe. Like, Lissandra in kind of a scenario like this in the side lane, which is containing, feels way less, way less thorny and able to take advantage of the enemy than Lissandra in other scenarios. The Ornn is just pushing out waves in the bot side and roaming towards mid. Before the Infernal spawns, he's free to do that. And then Vayne Galio mid lane pales in comparison to Ezreal Tahm Kench, who are safer and able to roam as a duo rather than roam as a solo. So really nice lane assignments available to EDG because of the smart rotation they made to top side. EDG have played this out so far really, really well. They rotate to mid lane with the package. Here's the big TP play. It's unbelievable to me that IG win this game. Let's talk about this. I see this play and I'm like, of course, this is what happens. So EDG push up. They're going to get the turret here. The TP comes in anyway from Rookie. So he's going for a teleport. And all this can do is to force a 5v5 against a team that has a better 5v5 than you and also has the items on early. So you're like, this game is so done. They dive into the back, and honestly, Rookie's lucky to even get his self-ult off. But he's able to, and that's relevant because it does open up the ability to combo with the Galio. However, you're continuing to dive in further onto Skarner ult and trying to chase for kills and bursts when summoners are up on the members here. So we're watching it pretty slowly. You can see eventually Skarner gets the ult. They get the first kill on the Jace, who's just diving in for damage. And there's no exit strategy. It's Iceborne Gauntlet, able to get the insane knock-up stun to get further kills. Like, this should have been maybe 4 for 1, but they get 5 for 1 because Ray gets the bonanza knock-up. But it's just, what were they fighting for? It's so weird that IG thought they could win a team fight like that, where Rookie is in the backline trying to pick up space, where the enemy's so close to their turret. Scout's way too ahead to make this play. Like, this feels like the throw moment, just like there was one in game 1 and 2 if you guys didn't watch it. Classic LPL fight, by the way, says, it's definitely IG's way. IG when in doubt fight. But you watch this fight, and how little threat there will ever be onto Corki or Ezreal, and the fact that you're playing near the enemy turret, like, it's not even for an objective, you know? This is just IG saying, let's fight because we can, and maybe they can't, you know? Like, that was really, really poor decision made there by IG, but it is the IG way to go. So this feels like the 25-minute GG, right? Like, EDG is so far ahead. They have the easier to execute comp. They can just make it about Barons and Infernals, and Ornhorn comes down, and IG have to give up objectives. None of their items are in a great spot. Let's get a little bit of a buffer. We look at the map state now. Yes, Sandra's going to get chip damage on top lane out turret, but it's at the cost of Infernal for a scaling comp. Absolutely love it. EDG takes that one for free. Like, it should be EDG get whatever they want. Like, this is the converse of our previous series. This is the same as if... Wow. It's the same as if Kingzone got ahead in game number 1 against Griffin, and then Griffin still made the same turret throw, but somehow even worse. Like, instead, at least Griffin got ahead before they threw it back. Like, EDG is actually effectively probably like 8k gold ahead. Like, that's how big it should feel with Infernal and the comps we have. And how strong Corki is already. They can take over the jungle. They already control the red side jungle. That was theirs, just like it was Kingzone's in the previous game. And they push up vision as well. So Baron spawning in 15 seconds. Their Baron is very easy. They can turn off Baron because they have tanks to turn off Baron with. Things are really good for EDG right now. So now I'm so excited to know how they don't win this game at 25, you know? Like, they're so far ahead. Control the Baron pit, take down the trinket here. Now, they haven't backed for a while. They need to back and get control wards. So that's a small problem right now, is they have a lot of trinkets on the map, but they actually have very few control wards. They only have 2 down, so they need control wards. Speak of the devil, Skarner and Tom Kench, both back to pick theirs up. That's good to see. See how the vision exhaustion plays here. So Jace doesn't really have an objective he can pressure. Doesn't have 2 items either. Like, Jace can't do much. He's going to trade minions against Ornn. So you pause at where this game is, and you're like, okay, you need the 2 control wards on the river and make this game about Baron as EDG. Oh. I see. I see. Let's understand this play from the start. So the Shy just tries to beat on the enemy Ornn, and it actually does surprisingly a lot of work here, right? Because Conqueror is a cool rune. The hammer hit there to override the E is actually pretty cool from the Shy. The timing there was very fortuitous. Now notice when this play starts. It's EDG doing what we mentioned of, all right, let's take over the Baron pit and make this game about Baron. So that's what their focus is on. So watch the mini-map here. Like, Ray, the moment he gets booped back, either needs team help or he's done. The boop timing there from the Shy is awesome. And EDG choose to come down through Blast Plant to try to punish the Shy. Now, the problem with this play on a simple level is that if you invest all of this time, you are able to take down the Shy again. He's already died a lot, but there's no objective for you to fight for on the bottom side of the map as EDG. Like, you could take the outer bot lane turret, but it's like a cash turret. It doesn't actually change the game state at all. Ocean Drake is spawning soon, and you have such a strong comp of playing around Baron and turning that if you lose control wards top side, is it worth it to go all the way bot side to get this kill back by the control wards again and then have to play the vision game again? Like, the answer is maybe, almost only maybe. So it's kind of a really peculiar decision to go bot lane. And then, of course, everything just goes the worst possible. IG actually chased through all this because the enemy's not showing Baron threat. The moment you see two members go down, like, you can just all in on this. And then Jackie Love finds a long lane to chase on with two items as Rage Blade, Blade of the Ruin King, Vayne. Like, this is like absolutely the best case scenario for IG. They gift wrapped a chance to fight in an area where there's no vision advantage, there's no Corki who has all of the gold. Like, this is just really poor macro call from EDG because they end up losing things when they were almost in a win-win only scenario on the top side. Again, like, this can all end. You start running at the Baron, and then, I mean, they don't have double control ward down, so they needed the control ward on the Baron, but you know what I'm trying to say. That this should have been a play about Baron. Instead, they just assume they're going to get a freebie kill, but the Shy lives long enough to get the turnaround Galio ultimate, and then suddenly they've got no inner turret, and Vayne with one auto in is going to be enough. That's why you get the flash kick from Ning, because chase from Jackal is going to be insane, right? It's Vayne, so yeah, this is really, really poor. Like, the amount of map presence you lose as EDG here when compared to where things were. Like, things went way better than expected for EDG, but then now it's like almost back to a wash scenario where no longer do you have the insane map control that you had on the top side. So that's just a very poor shot call from EDG, conspiring to play from as far away from their strongest member, which is, as you can notice, the most fed Corki of all time. 5-0, 12,000 gold at 24 minutes. Like, this is the godly Corki. And instead, there was no way he could be there. It was a play on the bot side where he was the only person who couldn't join. So they were chasing to kill a Jace that was behind in gold compared to Ornn, and now he's slightly ahead. It doesn't matter. And Baron control is going to take them a lot longer to get. So, yeah. Definitely a very poor map play there from EDG. Three item Corki at 24 minutes. So there's not enough vision in their inventory. This is a problem. I think iBoy should have sold his Doran shield for a control ward on this back, because they only have one control ward available on the Tom Catch. Two have been placed bot side, but they need to be replaced. There's no more objectives bot side to fight for. It's another Ocean coming in. So it needs to be about Baron, but they're not going to have that much Baron vision. Now, they have amazing Baron turns, so that's not necessarily means it's impossible for them to bait Baron, but they definitely want to be baiting Baron now. Like, can you imagine how fast this frontline dies to Corki? Corki is the most ultimately fed. And there's no frontline with armor. No armor Jace, Ninja Tabi on Lee Sin, no armor Lissandra apart from Aftershock Brock, no armor Vayne, no armor on Galio. Like, this Corki is god tier strong already. Scout backs, he gets a Zeal, and he doesn't buy control wards either. Okay, EDG. We just don't want to put down wards around the Baron. What he doesn't understand is that he doesn't need Corrupting Potion anymore. And if you put down control wards on Baron, then Ornn presses his ultimate button, the enemy team moves back, and no one can ever dream of going anywhere near Corki. Like, Jace hasn't got backline access. Lee Sin's not going to jump past the Ornn ultimate. And Lissandra and Galio are going to have bigger problems. So it's not even damage greater than Vision Volatate. It's a Corrupting Potion. Are we going to talk about the 10 magic damage on hit? Now, yes, Corki does a lot of magic damage, but does a lot of physical damage too. And the magic resist is a Hex Drinker, soon to be another Hex Drinker. Like, Hex Drinkers aren't going to help you enough against Corki. So, good point. It is, of course, magic damage. Most, I think it's like 70-30 overall, if you include everything. Maybe 80-20 if you include the spells, but like, it's not like the magic resist is there particularly highly either. So, we further forward move in this game, though. They push down mid tower. That's pretty easy. They still can't really play a complete vision game around Baron, which means I guess going to take down turrets instead, which I guess is fine, like, in terms of scenarios. Now, Lissandra teleports. This is in vision, right? I believe Zombie Ward spots him there, but I don't know. I don't see any red pings on the area. Remember, EG still hasn't backed and still doesn't have any new control wards. So this is like almost impossible team fight to lose. Let's watch how it plays out. So Rookie teleported in, couldn't find anything, backs away. Alright, and now we got battle lines. However, forward vision, pretty minimal. Control ward vision, pretty minimal. The spotting ward, for example, that you see on the bottom right of this screen is a ward that should never be allowed. You should have a control ward spotting the river and a control ward on the Baron. Regardless, shouldn't matter. iBoy walks up to clear this ward. Okay, so he sees Baolan. Notice what he sees, because we even have vision toggle here. He sees Baolan, and we know the Lyssandra's around as well. Maybe there was some tail end vision on. Okay, so Lysandra, this is actually a fun one because we get the vision toggle. So watch minimap. They know Lysandra is back there. They're about to lose vision on Lysandra, and they see Baolan. iBoy, instead of just clearing the ward and backing up, Arcane shifts aggressively onto Baolan. Now, already, this is not very smart, because they don't know where Lee Sin is or Jace. They know Lyssandra's not going to be up there. So instantly, Baolan says, thank you very much. Doesn't get much out of it. Let's watch the play again evolve. So Kick actually lands Scout back. Baolan can't taunt anyone there. So it's not even a disaster. Like, the iBoy play is bad, but like, it's not like iBoy dies instantly. The kick onto Scout does damage onto him, but no more. They get the ult onto Ning, as far as I can tell here. So not Ning, actually, it's the Shy. On the Jace. So, again, what's happening in the play up from behind is Vayne is killing Gromp mostly to warm up her Rage Blade. The reason why this team fight should be unwinnable for IG is multi-pronged, but let's think about it less in terms of the vision that we've already talked a lot about. Usually, Orin Ultimate will be commanded purely to zone enemy threats. There will be no kind of counter CC available to side of IG. And Orin ults as Skarner ults someone. That's what you want to do most of the time. So Orin ult comes in, Ray hits it. It is in the right choke, but because Scout was DPS'd out from kind of backup iBoy, Jackie-Love actually never has to threaten him from now on. And you watch iBoy on the top side, he's full health, done no damage, tanks the Baron for a while, still has taken no damage. Like, he actually just dies to Baron. So he takes a little bit of AoE damage, I think, from Redemption or maybe Galio. Let's watch this. Let's watch this. The story of iBoy. Like, what is his diary? Like, dear diary, I dived in and got, you know, I got out. Doesn't matter. I was able to get out. I flashed out. It's fine. He gets hit by Galio AoE. kites upwards because he arcane shifts, which aggroes Baron, and then dies from full health to Baron because, of course, doesn't have flash available anymore. Was it the redemption? Yeah, it was just, I mean, Galio got the kill, so it was either redemption or the Galio ult that did like 1 speck of damage on full health Ezreal, and he dies. Let's think about iBoy here, because he flashes, right? I need to watch iBoy closely. Let's find iBoy. So he flashes. Where does he flash? Because, like, sorry, the timings are a bit weird. He flashes now, just to safety. He EQs. That part's understandable. It's his friendly redemption. That's just a very, very big space out. Like, there's almost no reason to kite up like that. Because, like, Rookie was self-ulted in the area, and the rest of his allies were there, so this is really, really weird. Huh. I mean, it's very unlikely you ever die like that, but it's so unlikely you lose a team fight here, and it's purely because iBoy Arcane shifted in that put Corki in a bad spot to get kicked out. What I want people to remember, because you can think about this play in a lot of different ways. Sorry, let's go back. The part I want to talk about is that Scout at this point is a god, right? Level 15, level up on the enemy, multiple levels up on the rest, has so much damage. Scout free hits, they always win. That's for sure. So Scout walks up, backing up iBoy. That means 2 carries are in the front and an area of no vision. And that's where suddenly Scout gets kicked away. First by the Q hits him, second by the Q hits him. Everyone dives on top of Scout. Watch how much damage Scout is able to do the rest of the fight. Like, he does some damage over time, but the amount of free autos he's able to do is so much less than should be possible when they have Orange, Skarner, and Tahm Kench. Like, EDG really conspire through iBoy's solo kind of suite of mistakes to get nothing out of such a beastly fight comp. And Mako uses Devour on Skarner as well. Like, this is some epically poor team fighting from EDG. I guess that's how it happens, guys. Now we know how things go in that particular case. Like the Vayne Untouched GG point comes up, and it's like, Vayne Untouched means way less than Corki Untouched in a team fight like this. And yet, Vayne, because she had so much breathing room from iBoy's mistake, was able to do more damage than Corki, which just never happened in a fight that looks like that. And now IG have a Baron out of nowhere. So the vision there's been controlled for. So there's a blue trinket in this brush towards the left of the screen. Ning puts down a control ward that controls that vision. They, you know, play a bit of hopscotch to get into this particular brush with Baron buff, remember. EDG pushes up. All they know is that they're not in the brush towards the left of the screen. They actually have no other forward vision and no eyes on anyone except the people in front of their face. Let's watch this fight in slow motion. So EDG see what's in front of them, which is Jackie Love, and just ult him. They want to make Jackie Love move forward. So they're moving in a 4-man roam here as Skarner is heading off Jace. So they have no eyes on Lissandra and Lee Sin, who are the initiators of IG. But they try to make it about the Ornhorn, which I can understand. They even get the Ornhorn up. But Ning solo is able to zone iBoy and Scout. And they can just burst down Tahm Kench. That means that Skarner, who was out of position from the start, has to try to play front to back with no front line and no disengage, and then suddenly Scout can do nothing in this fight again. Like, look at how much damage he's doing after the damage is done and 2 people are dead. Like, in slow motion, you can see he is murdering people. Scout is so powerful, but yeah, fights like this are happening. Where they don't have complete vision, where they're getting flanked, even though they have a team that patrols flanks very well. And just getting themselves into really weird angles. And target selection really good from IG. Shout out to them. They're playing this game really well from what feels like a hugely more straightforward angle for EG to play. Like, Rookie is out of his mind with some of these ults, and IG are taking what feels like blunt spears and just making them into really impressive weapons. Like, this is really, really hard to play out from an IG perspective. Ning wants to die to turret again. Not able to. I agree with Clement. They definitely like to catch the bait. They take the bait every time. They're like, oh, we can kill him! And it's like, but where is everyone else? And what might stop us from killing him? These are questions they never think about. Look at the items on Scout. It's outrageous. He has double Zil IE, upgraded IE. It's a molten edge. And the worst thing is, they had a blue trinket in that brush, and then it was controlled. And they never wondered if it was an area that Lee Sin and Rookie might visit. I don't know, man. That's, I'm glad that the Icasas are picking it up, but just like they're saying, it's an insane front line with the world's most fed Corki. This should be an easy close. They even have initiation when the enemy team needs to find Rookie and Ning flanks. Damn. That was awesome. Let's watch that again, slow motion. This is an awesome fight. Finally, we see a fight that's not EDG just playing really dumb. So we watch this fight play out. We can zoom forward a little bit. Ning's clearing wards as it starts. Rookie just checks with his Ring of Frost because he wants to make sure there's no one in the turret. And that's actually a really good time for Ray to pull the trigger, right? Because they see Ning clearing a ward and they see Rookie on a ward with W on cooldown. So they pull the trigger. You want to blow someone up with this draft. That's the ideal thing to do. Ning misses his ultimate. Skarner ults first target. Now, first target is the Galio, which obviously is a support Galio and relatively tanky. But he should still be able to just be hitting the first person. But Baolan, you'll notice, goes back in. But watch the timing here. Watch Rookie on this. Because again, all of E just saying just kill Baolan. Just kill Baolan. Just kill Baolan. He'll die. Then Rookie, on the left side of the screen, remember, doesn't have flash to make a play happen here. He gets his E off cooldown, and in Baolan's dying breath, gets to re-engage. And this re-engage is just sick. Jackie Love and the Shy use this moment to finally walk up, and like they just, Skarner and Tom Kench get rip-renoed in such a huge fashion. And it means that the Shy and Jackie Love have more of a front line than Ornn, Skarner, and Tom Kench were able to provide. Like, what a monster, Lissandra, you have to be to solo be a bigger front line than Ornn, Skarner, and Tom Kench. What an unbelievable engage from Rookie. It's outrageous. Like, you can say what you want about the last couple where it's like, man, what is iBoy doing? What are they doing with this? But this is just Rookie just fucking beasting. Holy smokes. What a play. So TP is up here. The Shy comes back full health. iBoy and Scout do so much damage, but it doesn't matter, right? Like, it's so hard to do damage with no frontline. IG is like... this is the same team that entered 5 kills before, you know? Oh, unbelievable. Yeah, it's so weird to go in here as eyeball. Like, you can't do damage in the front line. You get a 1-for-1, but it's not worth it. So IG now control the map because they've won the last 3 skirmishes, and EDG have to be more respectful. A lot of their early gold lead is gone, right? IG now has the gold lead, which is unbelievable given how these comps stacked up. Thanks to the Colonel, 2 thumbs up. Packages up. So EDG still are a much stronger team than IG in terms of checking the Baron. They can still walk up with Ornn, they can walk up with Skarner. Even Tom Kench can devour people and his cleanse is up. So they have a lot of different ways to contest Baron. So Baron spawning is going to be the flare point, but it's not necessarily going to be impossible for EDG to counter. Now, IG almost just wrap around the same part, and Mako's like, wait, this happened before. So this is a little bit weird, because Mako backs off to put down the ward, and watch Ray. He sees Jace, all flashes are up, and he tries to fish for an ult. But my point is, who is going to get something out of this ult? Like, we talked about Ornn and Skarner as a duo we like. Clearlove's not in position to flash ult someone. So, this Ornn ult just feels like a donation. Like, this Ornn ult is very unlikely to do anything. So, they just kind of waste Ornn ult with how the game was likely to play out. And that means they don't have Ornn ult for the Baron setup. They get the spotting vision. How many blue trinkets do they have? 2 blue trinkets. I believe they still have 1 available then after this. They put down a blue trinket. It's checked. IG's comp, turn off Baron, is largely rookie favored or Baolan getting a flank. So you would assume Baolan is in the brush below this ward that's down. That's the place you really would not want to face check because that's the one way you can get punished. Now, how much vision does EG have to start this play? They only have the 1 control ward onto the Ezreal. No one else has control ward here, so this is tricky for them. Good Baron start timing from IG based on how much vision is available. So Baron falls to 1,000. So Baron falls to 1,000. How does this happen? $1,000. 514 auto attack. And then Corky's rocket does 500 damage? Well, it wasn't really fed Corky, but that was just a hammer hit into 500 damage Corky rocket. Holy moly. But to get that, amusingly, everyone else who didn't need to be there because it was a rocket steal gets super womboed. This is definitely the chase in and get as many kills as possible on the out. They actually only get 2 for 1, and 3 Barons stay up on the enemy. But Scout and Clearlove's health bar are gone, so iBoy Chameleon won to hold minion waves. Good news for EDG is that there's no minion wave in mid, so it doesn't matter. They're actually not going to lose an inhibitor for this, at least immediately. But, man, the not smite there. The 1,000 damage into hammer hit. This must have been a melee. Yeah, it was just auto to 500 health because it was 1,020, 520 gone. Corky rocket, baby. And then they just tried to chase for more kills. This game was awesome. So much happened in this game. It's definitely an action film. Like, Scout is just stranded at this point. He is just the strongest 6-item Corki. Like, Lissandra's been able to do so much work at 3 items or less. Everyone else has got, like, weird thrift shop items, but Vayne is really strong. Now, Vayne's damage is much more about getting Rageblade procs because no IE in the build. So, like, Scout has a burst advantage and a stronger front line. So, Scout is still 100% certain that he can carry this game because he's still the strongest person on the Rift in a short burst trade. It's only over time that Vayne can be like her full self. And that's what you can tell from Scout, who's like, no, I'm going to win this game. Just diving in. We're getting to 6-item points, so it's obviously harder to have flank vision at all times, which does make things a little bit more trepidation from the side of EDG. QSS on Jace, so they can't dive on him. QSS on Vayne, very hard to get a Lissandra, so feels like the Lee Sin and the Galio are the real ult targets for Skarner. Just try to use the Baron. Can't prep their minion waves, right? It's impossible. When you steal a Baron, you're not going to get to prep your minion waves as well, right? It's not how things work. So this is the last minion wave coming in. They'll get out of turret. Base has not been broken by either side at 38 minutes. Like, it's such a crazy game. So it's a very interesting point because Clement's talking about damage on both comps. Like, Corki does more damage than almost all of like IG put together, right? That's unbelievable damage if Corki's free hitting. But EG have 2 people that do good damage. One of them a god of damage. The other one, the Ezreal, doing okay damage. And 3 tanks. It's worth noting that IG have more kind of incremental damage around. Like, Galio does more damage than Tahm Kench. And they have 5 people in general that do damage, right? And so, in 5v5s in the ultra late game, when EDG no longer control how the fights are played, if they get flanked and, say, Rookie wastes all of Scout's time, honestly, like, if you can waste all of Scout's time, EDG actually have much less damage than IG, if that makes sense. Because of just the fact that all the damage is centered on 2 people auto-attacking and being able to put out spells. Like, it's kind of a weird thing to think about, but that's how things go. Double lifeline passive on Jackie Love. Clearly been watching BDD. Want a magic resistant AD, and I guess didn't have enough gold to adjust the crit item. Definitely want to get a static shiv or a rapid fire cannon here. Lot more vision availability for EDG now in the late game. Blue trinkets galore. So IG is looking for a flank where they can shut down one of Scout or iBoy and then win the fight from there with the incremental damage on Vayne. So Rookie not spotted. Behind enemy lines, Rookie. He's earned his paycheck this game, that's for sure. People were talking to me about how Rookie was falling off this split, and while he certainly hasn't been as much of a hard carry, still such an intelligent player. So gold lead here for EDG is kind of an implied one by Ornn items, but otherwise all basically even. Infernal and Ornn items is the only lead. They're actually behind in gold overall by 2,000. So hard to play ultra late. Like, you never scrim for 40 minutes where you can't put down vision and you can't make kind of clean plays. Now, EG know IG are going towards Baron, and they could just take Elder for as a trade. They don't do that. They want to have the Corki just solo it down. That's not a bad decision by any means. Corki does it so fast. Alright, this time Ning gets it. EG don't fully commit. It does end up being a trade overall, and EG put themselves in their best spot to get both. So you kind of like that from EG. I think they play that really well. They just utterly delete turrets of Mountain Drake, Corki Ezreal, and Elder. Need to find a flank where they get something onto Scout and Eyeboy. Notice that Eyeboy doesn't have Cleanse. Could be relevant. So many red wards in the map. Much, much harder for blue wards to be put down. Because they don't have frontline, you can't just go for yellow trinket late in the game. Because it's the duality is that yellow trinket gets beaten by red trinket, which gets beaten by blue trinket, but gets beaten by yellow trinket. So when you see a lot of blue trinkets, you want to put down sight wards because you know the enemy doesn't have as many sweep as they did previously. But because your front line is so squishy, it's actually really hard to not go for a blue trinket and just put down ranged trinket wards. It's very hard to cement vision on the map because you're so afraid of being picked if you walk up as a squishy. EG could have made an attempt to try to play their side lanes with... I guess it's hard. With Baron buff, it's probably right to play one lane. If IG have Baron buff and you have Elder, it's probably best just to play one lane with Elder. So I can't hate the decision. Just trying to understand it because such a... this game state happens very, very rarely. It's very interesting. Or call the Forge goes a bit early because they don't actually get a chance to auto attack on turrets here. And that's why you see the chase going on, because Ray has nothing around him anymore. But Lissandra dies instantly. So just going back to this point, call the Forge God is actually... The timing's probably fine, but it doesn't get much value. I guess maybe after the nerfs, the early slow part isn't as threatening. We slow this down. Lissandra goes, and Rookie goes in for his big play and gets Skarner ulted immediately. Really well played. Clearlove actually gets the Skarner ult that actually matters at this point in the game. It's a big point. Alright, 2 inhibitors. Minion wave coming up. Baron buff here is a real annoyance, you'll notice. They're like, ugh. If there's no Baron buff here, you get already one hit. Like one hit Nexus turret would already be down. You'd have 2 Nexus turret downs. Maybe the game just ends. Holy moly! Let's watch this slow motion. So they try to use Ornn ultimate to zone off the final turret. Clearlove flashes in, doesn't have ult, so he's just flashing in for the stun. The Shy gets a bit of damage onto Scout, but both of them are pretty low, right? But JackeyLove in the backline warms up his ultimate, and they understand too late that they've been very split in their call, have EDG. So actually JackeyLove just never even loses his over shield till now. Damn. Really well played by JackeyLove. Consider where this fight started. This fight starts with the minion wave being pushed in. Vayne can do nothing in this scenario. Warming up Rageblade on the minions. But the Ornn ult is used with the flash in, and then they try to take down 2 people. It's quite greedy target selection here because it's RR onto the Shy, and then E Searing Charge to stun against the Nexus onto JackeyLove. But because they're putting damage into 2 different members, Actually, one of them gets off scot-free, and Scout, needs to invest all of his time killing the Jace. So Jackilov just gets a free fight at the end, right? It's his ultimate cleanup crew from Jackilov. EG, yeah, they just tried to do too many things at once, and that's why Jackilov was able to close it out there. Death times are pretty long, but they have no minion wave to follow in, so the game can't end from this. Takes a long time. Yeah, with the respawns coming, you don't end the game here, so. Jackilov played this really, really well. And then EG have linear engaged, right? Like, Clearlove's got nothing, he doesn't have ult. Orin is dead, Tahm Kench has nothing, and then the front line is there, so. I think Jackilov picked his spot really, really well, and then just executed on Vayne. Really, really nicely done by him. Scout sold his boots. We're in ultra late game territory, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, let's understand this. Let's look at the minimap while this happens. So Clearlove doesn't want to fight for the Elder. They're willing to give it up to IG. This is a 1-stack Elder, only a Mountain Drake, and it's going to deny the 5-minute buff. But they understand they have to give it up. Let's talk about what's happening as this play happens. Is that Jace is trying to hold against Corki. That's what we see in the picture-in-picture. And then EG send in 2 more members. This is actually pretty smart. The moment that they're not fully committed to the Elder, the call was obviously pretty clearly given a while ago, and then Tahm Kench, Ezreal are able to get all the way over here and chase down the Shy. Shy actually buys 4 more seconds than you would expect, as Ray is just trying to cancel backs here. Almost have to watch this in many different ways. So we'll lead it with the teleport overcall was really good from Mako and Scout. They take down the Jace. You watch the minimap and you see what Orin's job is, right? Orin's job is to stop Vayne from backing as much as possible. Can't stop Lee Sin, but can stop Vayne. Will eventually die, but it's going to take a long time to die. Like, he only dies now. So Vayne is not going to get there anytime soon. Like, Vayne can't be here. It's just brawling with these members. And it ends at, like, what? 40 HP Nexus. Let's talk about the call with the EDG group then. So we think Ray definitely did the right thing, right? So we're watching the top side of the group. So Scout enters the picture here with cleanse up, almost full health. Boy doesn't have flash up, but has plenty of mana. 3 people in the pit. How does this not go the way of EDG? What is the shot call from EDG? We get to see it now, where Rookie is on top of Scout. What do we think, chat? Like, it's super, super close, right? And so we try and understand from the mini-map, people walking in. The pings are to go onto the Nexus pretty clearly from watching. Boy is the only one on the Nexus. It should be worth mentioning. It doesn't look like anyone really misplayed this too much. It takes a long time to kill the Shy. So the question is, let's assume we do this, and then at some point go back mid lane. You don't win the game because the minion wave, as you notice, was like, the Shy aggroes the minion wave till now. So now is the only time when the minion wave would turn off him. Like the minion wave would follow him now, would follow him now, would follow him now, and might de-aggro now. So the Shy buys 2-3 seconds. I don't think that's going to be the difference. If you had a minion wave in mid, I actually do like abandoning the Shy. If he couldn't aggro the minion wave also, I like giving up the Shy. I think giving up, following the Shy, I don't think is the main mistake here. I think Ray plays it perfectly, right? Getting the interrupts. He can't interrupt Ning, but he interrupts everyone else. The only thing I don't see is when Scout shows up, like Scout is, what's Scout's health bar on the right? He's full health now. So like Scout actually ends up tussling against Rookie. If you watch the minimap, because we don't actually see it on screen, I think he Valkyries onto Rookie and then Rookie all-ins him. Is that what you guys see as well? Like watch the minimap Corki icon. Yeah, because he Valkyries there and starts fighting against Rookie. In hindsight, if he ignored Rookie, he would have got value out of his cleanse and they would have ended the game. So I actually think Scout was the one that misplayed there based on the minimap. Because if you read the minimap like I do, Tahm Kench and Corki walk in with no minion wave. Valkyrie is used there. For sure that's Valkyrie being used. And then it's Valkyrie being used nowhere near the turret because you can see where the Valkyrie is like on top of. Like it's actually a mistake from Scout. Like he goes in with cleanse and then doesn't cleanse and doesn't hit the Nexus at all, right? Does he get one auto on the Nexus or nothing? Scout hasn't done any damage to the Nexus. Gets one auto on the Nexus and dies. He would have got at least 3 autos on the Nexus here and EDG would have won this game. I think the main mistake here is one that isn't on camera, which is this mistake. You watch Tahm Kench and Corki walking. That's a sign that Scout uses Valkyrie. And he didn't use his Valkyrie to start ordering the Nexus. He uses Valkyrie to go all in onto Lissandra. But then Lissandra just turns on him and he only gets 1 auto off against the Nexus. And if he had gotten 2, they would have won. And if he would have gotten 3, they would have won easily. So, you know, it's only when you rewind it and look at the mini-map and see a lot of things do you see what misses out on there. But that's, you know, 1 auto on the Nexus. Did he not think Lissandra had ult? Let's find out. Did Lissandra just get ult? No, I mean, Lissandra had ult the entire time. He actually just lost them the game here. I mean, you never scrim for these calls, and it's always crazy and always emotional, right? So I'm not going to be like Scout through this game because he was the one that was hard carrying, but his decision to Valkyrie onto the Lissandra is the reason they don't have enough damage to kill the Nexus. And then Jackie Love, who's on the world's biggest... Look at Jackie Love. The story of, like... The story of all of this is so epic, right? The story of the Corki is like, I cleaned up the Man of Tomorrow and I went in there and the Ice Queen stopped me and it was 1 health away. But the story of the Vayne here is hilarious. Vayne is forced to kill Ornn, as you can see. Starts walking back. I'm not really sure. Like, just because that's what you do, right? And then gets the call to go end the game. So Vayne, amusingly, just walks all the way to Raptors. Then it's like, wait, we're going to win this game. And actually go up to the top. Diary entry of the Vayne here will be Ultra Librarian for sure. She watched this game happen. She was the voyeur. Yeah, they just win the game. Death time is too long. EG should have won this game in many, many different ways. I think it's kind of beautiful in some ways that EG lost this game because it's such a counterpoint to our previous game. It's so awesome it's the same solo lanes as Griffin versus Kingzone, except in this game, the scaling comp got way ahead early. Like, super ahead. Like, IG full-on 5-man inted in the mid lane with a deep teleport, and EG had a huge lead. And then they had solo mistake from iBoy that got Scout caught. They got some other mistakes. They didn't play around Vision very well. They then made the wrong shot call on how to end the game. And Any one of those things doesn't happen, and EDG, because of their comp, just win the game. If EDG plays, they're like, from after they get the ace onwards, even 5% better, for sure they win. But it's the great thing about League of Legends, and it's one of the fun things about the game, is there are no hard counts. There are no certainties, and even comps that on paper are 75-25, 70-30, like, you can lose if the enemy team just executes better. And Rookie had that unbelievable play under Inner Turret. IG put themselves in a hole they had to dig out of with like plastic spoons that broke if they tried to dig. Like, that's how far behind IG was team comp wise, and also with just the game states where they were just having to pull off miraculous comebacks again and again. But they did it, and then they walk away with the victory, and EDG made mistakes and IG made super plays to get them there, except it just shouldn't have been that way, right? IG should have been punished for their five-man like int in the mid lane early. It didn't go that way, and now you got like this like where we have to rewind, and you do the OJ Simpson, like, if I could see the mini-map stuff zoomed in, I would understand exactly what happened. Like, it's definitely a amazing ending. Like, it's a hype ending for sure, but I mean, I can't even feel hard done by for EDG, right? Like, Scout's probably like, crap, like, I should have carried this game, but yeah. There's something being missed, and iBoy attacks a minion once, and a champ on another. You no longer attack. I'm not that familiar on all the trade there, but yes, I noticed the point you're talking about where iBoy does actually throw an auto not into an enemy champion. I think that's before the clear call was made to Nexus. I think it's a good indicator that the Nexus call wasn't something that both Scout and iBoy agreed on, and it's one of the main reasons they actually ended up losing autos in that particular fight. But yeah, that was a pretty insane game. I'm not gonna lie. What happens if they give IG Elder and kill the Shy, and EG just try to end 5v4 versus Elder? I don't think that works. I think the map rotational play, like, I don't think you can ever not contest at all for Elder and go for the Tahm Kench play. Like, do neither. If you do neither and just watch on, like, you're watching yourselves lose the game there. So I don't think that goes that way. But this was a really, really interesting game where there was a lot of mistakes made, but I'm left with the capitalizing from IG, specifically Rookie and some of those engages, and just the things IG could do in what felt to me like one of those unwinnable games. Like, yes, EDG had to make mistakes for IG to actually win, but this was either going to be an IG heroic comeback attempt or just a heroic comeback. And it ended up being a heroic comeback in the end. And yes, Tahm Kench died not being able to channel his gray health. He didn't have cleanse up, and he just kind of misplayed. Like, there was a lot of misplays that led to IG winning here. IG are fortunate winners, but at least they put themselves in the position to win after they entered so hard in the early game. Like, they never gave up here, and that's something that's impressive, crazy, interesting. But that'll do it. That'll do it for IG versus EDG. So we're going to take a break now, guys, and come back with some LEC action. It's our final review of the night. It's going to be Fnatic versus Vitality Game 1. Definitely just wanted to do an LEC review of this today, and that was the most interesting game because we didn't know what to expect from Vitality in that one, and sadly for Vitality, we found out by the end of game number 1. So, going to play some ads, take a break, and we'll be back with our LEC review to close things out.